Well, good morning. Happy Tuesday to you, and welcome in to the Real Monica Adams Show. Thanks for being a part of the show, and remember, share, like, follow like crazy. And for those of you that follow, by the way, I always say this on Facebook or Instagram or some of the other platforms, be sure to also click the subscribe button on YouTube so you can also get notified when we go live there, but most important, that you can go back and look at the library of shows. Again, 750 plus and growing. So thank you so much for the last, we're almost coming up on 3 years since we started the show, March of 2023. It's all thanks to you and our incredible sponsors, which, by the way, we have so many new ones that are coming on board here within the next month. The meetings have been amazing, and I'm excited, not only for sponsors, but also a lot of mobile Monicas coming up for you. So we'll talk about those and kind of scatter them in throughout the week. I do always say, if there's someone that you know that you would like for us to feature on the show, and they want to be a sponsor, a mobile Monica business, shoot me an email at info@therealmonicaadams.com. I give you $100 thanking you for giving us that lead. And I do want to thank Christy, by the way, who's already on this morning. She sent me an email last night, and there's a new place opening up in Arnold, Missouri that I'm going to talk to. So would love to hopefully bring them on board. New segments you would like to see, like Testament Tuesday, that's going to be starting in March. And we've got Childress consulting and nursing consultants that will be coming on. We'll talk about all about that for you coming up in March. One of the things that we mentioned when we walked in this morning was it felt a little warmer. Okay, I'm not talking like heat wave warm, but at least we're not talking minus 10 degrees. So we're going to start with some weather, get into news you can use, and then we're going to heal those relationships with you and your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, etc. Let's get into weather first. So I do want to let you know there is a possibility, depending on where you're driving around, you may experience a little mix. Yesterday, Beckett Moore told us this. Spotty this morning, 35 though, partly sunny skies, 18 for our low tonight. We get into tomorrow, and actually we don't have any mention of rain or snow until we get into next week. So 30 tomorrow, Thursday, 41. Look at Friday, breezy and 47. As we get into Saturday and Sunday, staying in that 40 trend all the way into Monday. But look at Tuesday. We are in February, which really, truly here in St. Louis, Missouri, has a tendency to be one of our worst months. We're talking 51 degrees on Tuesday. So, of course, any precipitation is going to come in the form of rain. Wednesday, the same thing, 52 and a 40% chance of rain. And then on Thursday of next week, we're going up to 53. I'm loving this trend. I am not going to complain whatsoever. Again, for those of you that are snow bunnies, you might not be happy, but didn't you get what you needed? We're ready to get into spring. So there you go. There is a look for you at weather. Now we get into news you can use. It is, after all, Black History Month. And so yesterday, maybe you were a part of the flag raising. If not, just again know that we are honoring so many in history that have made their footprint and had the impact. We're actually looking at doing a special feature a little bit later on this month on a gentleman who is trying to become the first Black sheriff in his area. So I'll talk about that. But this took place yesterday, and in fact, it marks 100 years since the precursor to Black History Month began in 1926. City leaders said Black history is a vital part of St. Louis and American history. It also marks another milestone, 50 years since it was first recognized by then President Gerald Ford. St. Louis first raised the African American flag for Black History Month back in 2014. So did that again yesterday. All right, I don't know how long it's been since you've shopped at the Galleria here in St. Louis, but you won't be seeing this anymore. Yesterday, the St. Louis Bread Company announced the closing of their location after 30 years. Again, opened up back in 1993. There was a notice that was posted on the window. The signage has been removed from the restaurant. Again, the company confirmed the location is now permanently closed, but they are declining to provide any additional comments. It's really sad to see all these restaurants that are closing, and we've had a ton here, haven't we, in the last month? All right, here's some exciting news. Energizer Park, just one of 7 host locations for the 2028 Olympic Soccer Tournament. St. Louis will host group stage and knockout matches leading up to the gold medal games in LA at the Rose Bowl Stadium. That announcement came yesterday, listing St. Louis with some other metropolitan areas in the United States. 7 venues that are announced all total. So this is going to be New York, Columbus, Ohio, Nashville, Tennessee, St. Louis, Missouri, San Jose, California, and San Diego, California. So congratulations to St. Louis, the LA 28 Olympic and Paralympic Games team. They saw Energizer Park, the home of City SC, to be known as St. Louis Stadium for all the LA 28 purposes. Perfect venue, by the way. And I keep saying, if you haven't been there, you are missing out. Go to a city game. They should be so proud. Anybody that had a role in designing that stadium, it is truly one of the most beautiful I have ever been to in my life. Have you been to a city game? Drop a comment in, by the way, if you have. All right, Missouri lawmakers, this is interesting. There is a push for St. Louis University to move to the Big East. What? Yep, state representative files a resolution supporting the conference change as the basketball team wins 15 straight. State Rep Brad Christ from St. Louis County filed a resolution supporting the move, saying it would impact the entire state's economy. SLU men's basketball, by the way, they've won 15 straight games in what could be a launching point to something bigger, like a new conference. The basketball-focused Big East gets more national TV coverage, and in 24, it generated $70 million more in revenue than the Atlantic 10. So I love this, and I'm really excited, by the way. I've never been to a Billikens game, so let me put that out to I love to know my audience. Have you been to a Billikens game this year or ever? I'm going to my very first on March 4th, which I believe is the last game of the season. We bought some tickets at a recent auction, taking my brother for his birthday, and cannot wait because, again, if there was ever a time for me to wait, it's this year since they are doing so amazing. All right, Valentine's Day, right around the corner. Today, our topic will be all about couples and getting you back into the romantic mood, really bringing you back together. Well, what is the most romantic restaurant in our area? It is Charlie Gito's. Congratulations, Charlie Gito's on the Hill, named the most romantic restaurant in Missouri by Open Table. The restaurant earned the designation as part of Open Table's list of the top 100 most romantic restaurants in America. The company determined the rankings by analyzing 9 million diner reviews, along with reservation trends and the percentage of 5-star reviews. And as we talk about Valentine's, here's some trends. 60% of Gen Z are celebrating with friends. 41% of all Americans say that they will do something for Valentine's Day. Dining alone, though, on Valentine's Day. And according to Gen Z, they say it's okay to make a reservation for one. 69% of them, by the way, say that. So what will you do on Valentine's Day? Have you already made plans? Are you going to be going out? You're going to make something special? You know, last week we gave you a really great idea for what you could make with some beef medallions, some amaretto candied carrots, a little bread pudding. That was on the dish last Friday. Maybe an idea for you to stay home and snuggle up. Or if you are going out, give us some ideas of something that we maybe want to do for Valentine's Day as well. Okay, yesterday, I follow Kelly Clarkson all the time, and I saw this post and I thought, what is this long, it was a graphic that was on her, I think it was on Instagram, and it was all this words. I almost didn't read it, but I kept reading, and I'm like, I have a feeling that this is going to say that she's wrapping up her show. And she is. After 7 seasons, she is stepping away from the daytime talk show. The reason why? She said she wants to spend more time with her family and really put an emphasis on her children. Clarkson and NBC Universal made the announcement. In the statement, the singer and host said she made the decision to step away to prioritize spending time with her 2 young children. By the way, if you remember, earlier this year, Clarkson's ex-husband and father of her children, Brandon Blackstock, died of cancer. Actually, it was at the end of last year. Production on the 7th season of the show will continue as scheduled. So the episode's expected to air through the fall. It premiered in 2019, and the show, by the way, has won 24 Daytime Emmy Awards. Now, I don't get a chance to really watch it with everything that I'm doing, but don't you love her? I think she's one of the most remarkable humans. She's got the most real spirit. She's hilarious, ridiculously talented, and had one of the most #1 shows. I was really surprised to see this, but kudos to her, putting her children first. What a great mama. Okay, have you ever been involved in the St. Louis Senior Olympics? This makes me think of my best friend. Her father was regularly in the Senior Olympics. Well, now they're changing the name and the rebranding of it a little bit. They are now calling it St. Louis Legend Games. It's the next generation of St. Louis Senior Olympics. And a lot of people think of seniors. I can tell you right now, by the way, you can participate in this from 50 and up. St. Louis Senior Olympics has been around for a long, long time. So if you are beyond active, working, engaged, you might want to get involved in this. Again, the St. Louis Legends Games, and they take place from May 16th through the 31st. Registration, by the way, will open up on March 2nd. So if you've ever thought about getting involved, there you go. But now it's called the Legends. All right. Do you like the Kelsey brothers? I'm really happy about this story. So the NFL stars, Travis and Jason Kelsey, are helping Layla Edwards' family attend her Olympic debut, and we'll be talking all about the Olympics coming up here in the next couple of days. It wasn't easy for her parents, missing much of their daughter's formative years, developing into women's hockey Olympian away from her roots in Cleveland Heights, Ohio. But thanks to an outpouring of donations, including the major push from the Kelsey brothers, they will get a chance to make the trip to join Edwards in her Olympic debut at the Milan Cortina Games next week. They had a GoFundMe drive, and then the Kelsey brothers stepped up as well. How cool is that? I love these fun stories. So we're talking about the Olympics, and yesterday I asked you, now I'm going to ask you again before we make a big announcement tomorrow, what do you want to see in our Olympic coverage? We will do the opening and the closing ceremonies. We're talking about downhill skiing. We're talking about figure skating, curling, women's hockey. Is there anything else that you would like to see us cover that would maybe take precedence over the ones that we have chosen? And I say we because tomorrow I'm going to introduce you to Michaela Tuggle, better known on social media as Make That Magic. And we are going to have a big announcement of a presenting sponsor that will be joining us. If your business wants to be involved in this, and I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to get in front of over 400,000 eyes because her social media page mixed with mine on TikTok as well as Instagram and YouTube and Facebook is huge and very dedicated, as you all know, very active as well. So we're going to start that coverage Friday evening. We'll talk all about that tomorrow morning. I'm going to introduce you to her. You're going to absolutely love her. So where are you going to watch? You're going to watch on NBC? Are you going to watch live? Are you going to tape? It all will wrap up, in a few weeks, but it starts, the opening ceremony is on Friday. They do have some Olympic trials and they've got other testing that will take place, but Peacock, NBC, USA, CNBC, the NBC Sports Network, they're going to do a lot. Will you watch, again, period, and then will you watch live or will you watch it recorded? In sports news from here locally, the Cards, they sent Donovan to Seattle in a 3-team trade. Can you believe this? Brendan Donovan gone to the Seattle Mariners. This was announced just yesterday. They're nearing that deal. Actually, Cardinals receiver, the Seattle Mariners acquiring Brendan, and they say the deal's done, full trade per sources. So the Rays receive third baseman Ben Williamson, and Donovan's been the subject of trade rumors, by the way, for a while now. The Cards have gone full steam ahead with that rebuilding and trading. They traded, remember, Nolan Arenado, Sonny Gray, Wilson Contreras. Donovan spent most of the season last year at second base, but sometimes played at third base and in the outfield. So he's now gone. If you were a big Donovan fan, you're going to have to watch him in Seattle now. All right, how about the Blues and the Billikens? The Blues, they've been scoring a lot of goals. Unfortunately, they don't come out on the winning end of this. The Predators beat our Blues 6-5. It's the Blues and the Stars tomorrow, a late game at 8:30. I talked about how great the Billikens are doing. They're in action tonight on the hardwood. It's 8 o'clock. Billikens against the Davidson Wildcats. All right, and in the National Day of Calendar, National Take a Cruise Day. It's the Four Chaplains Day. National Missing Persons Day, National Women Physicians Day, National Carrot Cake, and it's the day the music died. Remember, February 3rd, 1959? It was Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper, J.P. Richardson. They were all killed in a plane crash. And of course, the incredible song, when we talk about the day the music died. That one, by the way, if you work in radio, you could always walk down the hall, go to the bathroom, and be gone for a while because it's a long song. All right, everybody, that's how we do it. If you're new to the show, we get you all up to date in the first 15 minutes, and then we get into our topic of today. And today, it's about you and your relationships. We're also going to tell you about an event that's coming up. When I tell you, what are you thinking of doing on Valentine's Day? Well, there is an event on Valentine's Day, Dinner with a Sex Therapist, hosted by Sex Therapist Angela Skurtu. So we're going to talk about that. And then I told her I want to know what were couples struggling with in 2025 and as we move into 2026. If you have other issues that are going on, you might want to drop them in. And this is being very raw and being very real and saying, hey, this is what's caused some problems. Or maybe it did and you got back on course because of someone like Angela. Let's talk all about you and get you in the mood for love. Angela joins me when we return.
We're at the Vault Luxury Resale in Brentwood, and I think this is going to be a very dangerous shoot, Diana.
It'll be
She
fabulous.
says it is.
We do costume jewelry. It's everything women want. You know, sometimes I want to grab a Kendra Scott earring or just a fun, untrend earring, but other times I want David Yurman, John Hardy, Tiffany. So we also have that.
Some beautiful costume jewelry, some really gorgeous high-end jewelry.
Yes. We have phenomenal cowboy boots. We have, Paige, Mother, all designer denim.
Luxury resale, not at the luxury price.
We, have every kind of high-end handbag.
Whew.
And everything from Bottega, Louis Vuitton, tons of Gucci, Chanel. We not only deal with people in St. Louis, we deal with, a lot of people in New York, celebrities in New York, Nashville, Beverly Hills.
Monica or Mez Adams. How's that
Yes,
sound?
that sounds great.
All right, one more designer area.
Look at these. These are Chanel, Jimmy Choo, Prada, Gucci. We have everything from Steve Madden boots to Chanel boots.
They're going to love what you come back with.
Yes.
Oh, we love the ladies from the vault, right? We've done, 5 of our Mobile Monicas there, all those fun makeover shows. There's a lot of Mobile Monicas coming up at boutiques, by the way. And if you have a boutique you'd like for us to bring the show on the road to, let me know. Boutiques, restaurants, festivals. We've done farmers markets, you name it. We have left St. Louis and went to Fredericksburg, Texas, and did 11 shows in 3 days. It's fun. All right, let's bring the show to you. info@therealmonicaadams.com. That's the email address. All right, we are getting ready to get into Valentine's Day, and I'll read a comment from Rose. Rose was talking about Valentine's. I asked, what were you going to do? She said, my hubby surprised me by purchasing tickets for the 40th anniversary of John Hughes' Pretty in Pink at Ronnie's. It's been one of my favorite movies growing up. That's real love for my hubby to sit through that. Then beating the crowd and going out for an early dinner. I love it. So let us know, what are you doing for Valentine's Day? Maybe you need to work on your relationship. So we're going to talk about an event that's going to be held right here. Our studios, by the way, are involved with Adventure Unknown. So if you haven't heard of that, look them up. We can also drop some information in there for you. Sex Therapist Angela Skurtu is my guest. Let me bring her on first of all. Oh, I love that. I love that, Zach. He's getting us little love hearts. Angela, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Monica.
Absolutely. So Angela and I were just recently at the launch of this book. If you don't have yours yet, I would highly recommend that you get it. We're talking about 35 women who are inspiring you with stories of hope and inspiration, getting really raw and real and, exposing themselves, putting themselves out there. And you had mentioned to me, okay, yeah, I'm going to put this out there. And it's like the first time I'm going to say this. And what's going to happen? It's going to help others. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. But sometimes we don't want to. And sometimes even this, people say, oh, Monica's talking about sex. Why do people think it's taboo? I'm literally going to open with that.
Okay. Why do people think it's taboo? Well, we teach people from childhood up that it's taboo. We don't talk about it. Even the way we teach about it in schools, we separate the boys and the girls for a puberty class, but we never bring them back together to talk to each other and understand. It's so if we separate them from the beginning and then we never bring them back together, what do you think happens when they grow up and they get married to each other?
Right. Yeah.
So it's been made taboo our entire lives, essentially.
So let's go all the way back. So what would you say? Because again, sometimes it takes some mindset of maybe we should make an adjustment here. So if you go back to how they're taught young, what do you think should be done?
I think we should teach them together. And I think it should happen every year, not just in my day. I love that I'm at an age where I can say back in my day.
This is true.
But back in my day.
Sit down, kids. Let me put my glasses on.
Right?
This is when we walked up and downhill a mile to school. Yeah.
I promise I say that to my daughter every day, and she's like, Ma! But no, in 4th grade, we had a puberty class, and the girls and the boys got split up. And then in 5th grade, they got split up again, and we saw, so you saw the girls' video in 4th grade and the boys' video in 5th grade, but we never brought them back together, ever.
Right.
And then they grow up, and the distance continues. As they get older, they don't learn, first of all, women are having periods every month. Let's just throw that out there.
Yep, right.
And we need our partners to understand what's going on. I know you recently had an episode about menopause.
Yep.
There's a lot of women's health issues that are going on that if couples could talk to each other about those things, it wouldn't be this thing in the dark.
Yep.
And for men are struggling too. Men haven't been given access to emotions. A lot of times we kind of teach them to be tough and strong.
Yep.
And I mean, how are you going to talk to your wife or
Correct.
partner if you have to be tough all the time and she's wanting you to be vulnerable?
Right. So you've been a sex therapist for how long?
I have been for many years. Hold on. I've been in business since 2012. It's almost been 20 years since I've been a sex therapist.
Can you, in that time frame, say that it has evolved, gotten better? Because this is why I ask. If you look at 2020 to now 2026, people are talking about mental health.
Okay.
Men are talking more about their emotions than they ever did.
Which I'm very proud of them.
Correct, right? And so we say that. By the way, she has her own show that you might want to subscribe and follow, Open Bedroom Doors. And this might get you talking together. I hope so, to help you heal. We talk about men sitting in this chair, or when we first started the show, how vulnerable they're willing to be, how they don't know why, but all of a sudden they start crying and they're like, how in the heck did that happen? And I said, probably because this space is warm. So you have an inviting, warm space when you're with them that they have a tendency to open up. So if you look again, 20 years, this is hopefully the positive side, do you think it's getting better?
So it's a funny answer, but I feel like I'm solving the same two problems across the entire 20 years. It's either desire discrepancy or infidelity. And those are my top two problems. I will say that, I'm happy that I'm helping clients make that change, because what I essentially teach people to do is become whole humans, right? So for men, we've got like a man box and a woman box. Men, we've given them 3 tools. We've given them money, sex, and violence to solve the world's problems. And violence, I mean the tough guy thing. So not every guy's out there fisticuffing.
I hope not.
I mean, some of them are, which, that's why we have competitive sports in certain fields, actually. But just that tough guy exterior is the tool they've been given. And for women, we give them the opposite tool. So we systematically deny women those same tools. And so women are taught to do everything. We're taught to people please. We were talking about this, like how we're constantly in the caretaker role. And we are given access to our emotions, but we aren't given access to anger and boundaries.
Sure.
And so when you put those two together, essentially, we've denied humans the whole existence of being a human person. And so my work with all of my couples is teaching them that we all need all of it.
Absolutely. Is there a problem with the labels that have been put? And, again, let's go back to the beginning of man. We look at the fact that it's more of that caveman mentality. I go out, I hunt, I bring back. And we kind of set it up to, this is what you do, this is what I do, and we have our boundaries.
Well, I mean, those cultural constructs were created later on. Like, actually, if you look back in caveman, like if you actually look at the archaeological research, both men and women were hunting. Like, if you think about it, you just needed good hunters to hunt. So it wasn't necessarily a gender-focused thing. It was like, I mean, yes, females might have done more of the gathering when they were having children because they needed to be there for the children. But if you look at like the rubbings on their muscles and like their bones, like they have similar places in their bodies that are slowly deteriorating.
Interesting.
And so, no, like there was probably more of a homogenous type of tribal way of doing things. But over time, it's actually puritanical culture that created some of those gender roles. And a lot of it was for control.
Okay, so we want to release control. Well, again, we're trying to bring you back together. As you're watching this morning, I do want you to know this is your show. And this is an opportunity, as we have Angela on for the hour, to ask questions. And the thing is, we keep saying that it shouldn't be taboo, because this is how you help your friends. This is how you help the community. Drop in a comment if you are right now struggling and you want to be real about it. We'll be here for you. Or I really love the stories of someone that was, and then they talk about how they overcame. Right?
Yeah.
So that's what G sees. I asked Angela to bring to the table today what she saw in 2025 that's heading into 2026. Some of the biggest problems that you saw with your couples or have. So if we look last year alone, what would rise to the top?
So desire discrepancy and infidelity. So I spend a lot of time working with desire discrepancy, and it's just helping. So for women, when I'm working with women, what I'm helping them do is get out of the caretaker role all the time and get back into, you're allowed to be a person and a woman here, not constantly do everything for everyone else. And so the trend is actually, it's related to my event from Dinner with a Sex Therapist. I'm talking about from burnout to passion. And so a lot is going on is that couples are burnt out from work, they spend so much time on work and kids that they don't have time to focus on themselves. And so my event really is about that, is helping couples refocus on themselves. And it's also just about having fun. So it's not actually a therapy event. It's a playful event that's teaching people a little bit about how to go from burnout to passion, but with a lot of goofiness and some really fun aphrodisiac foods.
Right. So we have it up on the screen for you, by the way. Tickets are available for this. So it'll be on Valentine's Day from 5 to 8 p.m. Tickets are available. Is it, where do you want to send them to? That's most important. Your website?
Yeah,
or
openbedroomdoors.com.
Okay, so go to that. There you go. And if you don't have any plans yet and you're like, oh, well, this sounds fun. Do you know what the food is for the night?
Yeah, well, I know some of it, although some of it's a little bit of a surprise to me. I know we have Marry Me Chicken and...
Marry Me Chicken.
I know, it's cute. This one's a little more crass, but like cream in your pants corn is one of the menu items. And there's way more. And we do have vegan options too. I keep having people ask, what about vegan and like gluten-free? So
Gluten-free?
we absolutely have some options for you.
Absolutely. And then again, it's a fun night, but getting you to maybe open up after you leave and say, oh my gosh, that was so fun. And it's bringing you back together. So I saw statistics the other day that said the divorce rates, while we were hoping we're going to get better, not necessarily have, but what's causing the divorce rates has changed as far as actual topics that people would have thought in the past. But yes, infidelity is still, unfortunately, a big one.
It's still up there. Yeah, infidelity is one. Financial, being different pages for finances. Sex is always one on there, although people won't always say that one directly because, again, it's a taboo topic. In my office, sex is like one of the number one reasons.
Right.
But with that being said, they'll also kind of hide it under communication, right? Like trouble with communication, trouble with connecting. But what's funny, so for everyone who wants to come to my event, I have the same thing happening. This is going back to that gender separation. So every man asks me, how do I get my wife to come to your event? And guess what every woman asks me? How do I get my husband to come to your event?
Yeah.
And so what's funny is it's the same problem. They're not talking to each other. You're not talking to each other. And you both
simple.
want help and like you just don't know how. Like
So when you said that, I was thinking, is it more men or women? I would think women, but this will be interesting. Again, if you're just tuning in, let me reintroduce my guest, Angela Skurtu. She is a sex therapist. She can help you. We'll give you all the information of how, beyond the Valentine's Day event, of how you can get to her and have her help you with your own relationships. When they're coming to you, is it more the men or the women that are making the call to say, we need to come?
So the most common way that people find me are through my YouTube videos and through my show.
Okay.
It's typically men first, but they won't be the first ones to reach out.
Okay.
So men will have like watched me forever and like watched and waited, and they kind of watch and wait and they're like, gosh, I wish I could bring this up. I want to talk to my partner. Then their wife brings up therapy and they're like, I know someone.
Oh, really? Okay. Interesting.
That's the most common. Huh. Yes. But that's on YouTube. I actually say on my E360 TV, I have more female watchers.
Okay.
So I'll have to be watching that trend, but it's been more typically males that find me who want
Good
the
guys.
sex therapy piece.
Yep.
And then females sometimes are a little nervous because they're like, what does sex therapy mean?
Well, that's it. I'm going to take a quick break. That is what I want you to answer because yes, I think women more in the mindset of we need a counselor. We need a marriage counselor.
I'm
right?
one of those.
Right. But right. Exactly. But see, from the labeling, and I went to labeling before, if it's labeled as sex therapist, I don't know. I'm going to stay. I need to find a marriage counselor. She's helping you with that, right? Yes. It's branding, marketing, labeling of maybe why women or men. I am also going to come back, and I would like to know what your questions and comments are for Angela as well. I'm going to ask for the very popular Gary Chapman book about the love languages, what she finds that rises to the top with love languages as well. All right, more with Angela Skurtu when we return.
Welcome to the mobile Monica version of the Real Monica Adams Show at my favorite restaurant.
There's something about a coffee house that's just very warm and welcoming.
Gives you that sense of community.
What are you most proud of since you've opened it?
I cry easily. I'm thankful for everybody here.
You opened the door during the middle of the pandemic. You got the best Italian restaurant in the United States. here in St. Louis. You put us on the map.
Does it scare you? Go through fear?
Terrifying.
So how do you get past the fear?
We find something to laugh about.
Welcome back again. Thanks for tuning in to the Real Monica Adams Show. You are live with us, so feel free to communicate. It's kind of like our radio days where you used to call in. This is your way of me shouting out to you. Rose just said that we could be here all day, Angela, so I just wrote in the comments saying, come on, Rose, bring your questions, bring your comments. Yes, there are so many topics on this subject. If you are just tuning in, Angela Skurtu is my guest, sex therapist. But as we went into the break, I said she's a marriage counselor. See how I just said it? Women might be like, oh, I need to reach out to her because we need help. But that is what you do.
Yeah, I'm a licensed marriage therapist first and a certified sex therapist. And this is the trouble with branding. So if I brand as a marriage therapist, then women are more open to seeing me, but men are less likely to see me. If I brand as a sex therapist, men are more likely to see me.
Catch-22.
Women are less likely to see me. But that's about those boxes, right? If we gave men sex is one of their tools, of course they're willing to see a sex therapist. And if women are given the emotional tool, then women will see a marriage therapist. And just so you know, I have a license and certification in both. Sex therapy isn't like, so, okay, when people come see a sex therapist, they're like, what are they going to do? Are our clothes staying on? Yes, clothes on, judgment's off. It's talk therapy, but it's not just about sex. It can't be. We have to talk about parenting. Like I was spending the other day just talking about dividing of roles in the household, because again, you can't go from diapers to desire without some sort of like middle ground, right?
Right.
And so a lot of my work is, yes, helping you guys flirt and do date nights and spend more quality time in the bedroom. But to get to the bedroom requires everything you do to get there.
What
and
is
that's
the
marriage
root cause?
therapy.
Yes. What's the cause that has separated you or put you in other bedrooms? Which I there's so many. Yeah, I think it was last week I was reading and people were talking about someone snoring, right? And then suddenly they're like, okay, well, I'm just going to go to another bedroom. I'm like, oh, I will never go into another bedroom. I think that is the demise of a relationship. I understand you're all going to sit here and say, but Monica, the person's snoring. I don't know. Figure it out from a health standpoint.
I have something to say about that. I sometimes sleep in a separate bed, and I have a great sex life, by the way.
Interesting. So why do you sleep in another bedroom?
Because my husband and I snore sometimes. So there are times. Also, I'm an insomniac because I've got ADHD. So I'm always like up all night thinking about stuff and plotting, right? So there are times we always have bedtime before, like a pillow talk time before bed where we cuddle and connect. That's every night from about 9 to 10 or 10 to 11, depending on when we go to bed. But then sometimes if my brain's wired, then I go into the other room. I might read a book. I was reading this book. It's About Time book through one part of that. And then at some point I'll pop back in the bed. I don't leave every night, but I will say to make it work, you need cuddle time. And we have cuddle time every night before bed and every morning, even though sometimes I step away. Like we create an intentional space for intimacy.
You hear the word create.
We
or
create
make
it.
time. Make time for it.
It's carved in. Like I have things carved into my entire life for intimacy and connection, including like my daughter knows when I put her to bed. I have a 10-year-old. I say, she'll be like, Mom, I want to stay up. Why can't I just like, but because I need time with my husband, with your father.
Yep.
Do you want this to work? No, I don't guilt trip her or anything. But the point is she even knows. She's like, oh, you're having daddy time right now.
That's right.
So it doesn't even have to be like, this is the other thing. I have to talk to parents about how to talk to their kids about this because people are so private. Like, you can never tell your children, wait, if you don't talk to your children and model what an intimate sex life can look like. And again, all I mean by modeling is carving the space. Your kids aren't in your bedroom unless, I mean, sometimes they are. Let's be fair. Some parents sleep with their kids, not like in that, like in sort of a, like their babies and, helping raise them sort of way. But like, if your kids aren't somehow incorporated in like teaching them, hey, we need quality time and sometimes we need time away from you, then your kids can be essentially the blocks unintentionally.
No, I was actually going to say, you brought up a topic I didn't even think about, but there are many times where a child is allowed in the bed for far too long and it has created this divide. The other thing is, and this is where somehow my husband got it to change, but I've always been one of having animals and dogs. And come on, guys, come in the bed.
The puppy pile, right? In the middle. What
He
do they
said,
do?
No
They separate you.
No more dogs in the bed, Monica. And I'm like, I miss my babies. They cuddle better than him.
I mean, I understand the puppy pile. I love it too.
Okay.
When your little puppies are like, it's warm and cuddly. And I'm not even like, this is where I'm a little flexible on all of these, right? So we actually cuddle with my kiddo in bed too, but we choose when, right?
Yep.
Like, so sometimes it's a Saturday or Sunday morning. And if we are like, hey, let's invite her in to cuddle, we choose when we do that.
Sure,
So then she
sure.
pops
Then
in
she
and we'll
goes in
all
and out.
cuddle.
Yep.
But if I want intimacy on a Saturday morning, she's not invited.
Correct. Well, I hope not.
I'm just saying,
Just
like,
kidding.
that she knows
Yes.
that when she's invited, she's allowed
your
in, but
time.
she also knows when that door is closed, that's our time.
Yep.
And so it doesn't have to be so strict that you can't like sleep in another bedroom or that you can't cuddle your kids in bed, but like, you do have to make an intention around how are we going to spend quality time.
Yep.
And you do have to have some boundaries with your children in order to have an intimacy. And I think what ends up happening is that because parents, couples don't know how to talk to each other and then model to their children this, then sometimes a kid becomes kind of like a crutch intimacy person where you're getting your intimacy from holding and cuddling your kids instead of getting intimacy from your partner.
Right. And then this is where she gets to the issues of why. All right. So let me look here before we
Okay,
continue
there might be
on.
questions and we want to answer them.
Yeah, absolutely. So Rose said you hit home when you say caretaker. Okay, I was just going to go to that. Okay. Some women do everything. We're tired. We aren't that 20-something who had sex at every turn. Men, help your wives or partner. After we mop the floor and clean the toilets, are we thinking sex? Now, if I see him doing chores, that's sexy. That's a good point.
That is very sexy.
All right, that's Rose. Okay, Christy said we have 3 puppies in our bed. Okay, so interesting. So to take that, the exhaustion aspect, Angela, and I will say this, because Angela had some comments for me of things that we could talk about today, and one of them was, we'll go into this part next, which is the caregiver.
Yeah.
Aging parents, right? And this is happening right now. You all know.
We're all in it.
Yep. So actually, and what we're discussing, because all of you have been asking how mom's doing, she's doing remarkable. We're looking at transitioning her now to our homes, and then we'll reassess. But she's going to go to my brother and sister-in-law. Yes, thank you, Zach. My brother and sister-in-law. As we continue from there is Mama Jackie. So yes, she's looking beautiful. She's doing amazing. She will be with us. That's a benefit of how incredibly close our family is. But for some people, they don't have that. When you do have that, it becomes life changes. So let's address, as Rose and myself and any of you, caring for, we're not even going to say just parents, right? You suddenly something happens and it's a brother, a sister, a child. So a caregiver, 1. 2 is having an illness, cancer. So let's address that. So when you go into your therapy sessions, how do you tackle that?
I mean, it's a big part of my work. And actually, my parents are also aging. My mom has dementia and my father actually has cirrhosis of the liver. So we have like a lot, like it's a part of life. I do want everybody to know, like aging parents and taking care of aging parents is part of life. But when you go back to the question you asked about women being in a caretaker role, I heard you say your family is supporting you. So how my family is working together, there's 4 of us siblings, is we're taking turns and we're dividing and conquering on what kinds of things we need to do to take care of our father. Like I tend to be more of the business owner, financial person. So I'm helping him with some of the end of life estate planning, making sure like beneficiary deeds are done and things like that. My sister is helping with different medical visits. My other sister actually has him living in her care. So there's a lot of division of labor happening with my siblings. And if you do have that in your family, that is helpful. The trouble is you don't always. So say it's just a couple. Well, then we're talking about how do we manage that? Just the same way you would manage children and childhood, taking care of kids, you have to manage elderly care. And like you have to divide that task because for women in particular to have access to our desire is first to be a human person who's not constantly caretaking. If you think of the caretaker as like that role itself has a natural hormonal shift in the body that shuts down desire. And it's a very intentional hormonal shift. It's like, think about when you first have a baby and you're breastfeeding, like that's the caretaker, like all the hormones that are like coursing through your body are essentially saying, don't procreate, don't procreate, don't procreate. Like it is not a good idea right now, right? And so that those same caretaker hormones essentially exist when we're in that role for too long. I keep hitting your
okay.
mic. Sorry. And so anytime, and we see this in males too, by the way, if a male is taking care of his wife who has cancer, there's a level of like shutdown of desire for his partner, not because he doesn't love her or care for her, but because once you go chronically in a caretaker role, it's a natural mechanism to support the ability to take care of somebody.
Sure.
And actually, I'm speaking about desire and cancer tonight for the Cancer Support Network. So it's funny that you mentioned cancer because it's like I talk about sex and how it relates to everything.
Well, I think the reason why is I've heard so many people over the years in my own life coaching for the last 20 years of women who have gone through breast cancer, men who have gone through prostate cancer. There's so many levels of things that they feel like they can't do anymore in the sexual realm, but it's also how they feel about themselves and how their body has changed.
Yes.
And so you have to get into the mental side of it all.
Yeah, well, and I think sex needs to change. So I talk in terms of boxes a lot. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm a box lady. So there's an American sex box that's ruining everyone's lives. And the sex box is we kiss a little, we touch a little, maybe you go down on each other, and then there's penetrative sex. And that's it. That's all that sex looks like. And the problem with that box is when problems start to occur, which, by the way, sexual problems are a part of life. And life problems are a part of life. Have you ever heard the phrase life keeps lifing? Well,
Yeah, sure.
Problems are a part of life. But when we only have sex in one way and we hide it in a corner, it has to look this way, it can never change, then once you hit problems or sexual problems, you're screwed. And not in the good way. Like what ends up happening is people fall apart and then go back to childhood. We've never told them to taught them how to talk to each other. So then they start to distance. And what's interesting, so there are gender differences because of socialization. I do want everyone to hear this. Like if we were to give people permission to be whole humans, we'd just be using all of the tools. But when this divide occurs, when say there's cancer or chronic pain or some sort of like we have to deal with the parents, well, women are more emotional. They'll seek supports outside of their partner. They'll do everything. They go chronically into caretaker role. Men, what were their tools? Sex, anger, violence. Sex, violence, and money. So they'll throw some money at it. Throw some money at it to try and fix it. What can I buy? That's if they have money. The violence piece is just be strong, always be the strong man, always hold it together, never show anybody that I have emotions. And if it's the sex, then they actually during stress can use sex as a way to connect. But again, it's because we socialize them to only get connection that way, not because they can't be emotional people.
Well, and we went into the break before, and I'll address it now before we take our next break. It's all about, I don't know how many times couples have been given the book about the love language, right? So what is your love language? Oh, that's the problem. Your love language is different than mine. I'm over here doing this and you're not even realizing that I'm doing this for you. I would think a very high majority, and you tell me because you're the counselor and the therapist here, would you say the majority of men that come to you, their language is physical touch?
Yes, but it's because of the gender socialization. So that whole love language book, by the way, there's no science to back it up. Some guy just wrote it, and it's a good model in theory. I actually use it a lot, but I want to tell you, everyone needs all of them. And actually, there's new love languages, like beyond touch, words, acts of service, gifts, and time. There's memes now. You can send texts. I know a couple who pranking is their love language. So what I teach about those love languages is that you need all of them, and the couples that have the greatest love affairs between each other, not with others. I do work with infidelity, but that's not what I'm talking about here. The people who have the greatest love affairs with each other show love in all of the ways, all 5 of the love languages, and they make new ones up. But the ones who struggle, usually it's because of modeling. Like, for example, acts of service. Like, every guy's showing love through acts of service because that's all we taught them to do sometimes, right? Like, I just clean a house, do this.
Right.
But
Go back. Yep.
Guess what? Quality time is important for everyone. Touch is important for everyone. We all release oxytocin when we cuddle. So yes, men say touch and women will say acts of service, but it's because women are doing everything that they're asking for acts of service.
Well, and I think it's important what you just said. It's the description of it. So physical touch in most women's minds is, all you want to do is have sex and I'm over here and you don't even want to talk with me. But I always say this, when you allow someone in, so if I'm interacting with Angela right now and she's really emotional and I go like this and I grab her hand.
You can grab my hand.
Right? It is
I consent to
well,
this.
it's that or it's this. Where, I even think back when I was a waitress, I would know when I was really connecting with, or I was a bartender, when you would sit there and laugh, and it's just the natural thing of I'm allowed into this.
Well, and you have to ask those things. Actually, so I do have my book. I'm going to shamelessly self-promote. I didn't tell her this. So I can't say the words, but it is From F No to F Yes Sex.
Okay.
And what I'm teaching is creative sexuality, actually. I'm teaching people to step outside of the American sex box. So when you have more ways to be intimate and connected, how lovely. Thank you, Zach. When you have multiple ways to be intimate, when you see the whole body as capable of giving and receiving pleasure, that's when sex can be exciting. And that's when you can break that mold that women have been taught that it has, because they're thinking about the American sex box. They're thinking, I have to do this, this, and this. And first of all, for them to even get into that space, they have to get out of the caretaker role for 1 minute and become a woman again, a person. And then they can start thinking about sexuality and excitement. But for men, when I've talked to so many men who are like, I want more than that sex box too. I want to cuddle. I want to connect. I want to do massages. I want to know what's out there. Your whole body is, I don't know if you guys know this, you can get orgasms in your spine. I got orgasm in my feet the other day, just messing around with a vibrator, seeing what I could do. I'm serious. Your whole, so the orgasm lives in the spine and the brain. But yes, your genitals can be used to get there, but they are not the only way to get there.
Sure.
And when you get more creative and open-minded, then when sexual problems occur, like cancer, like pain, then you have new avenues to have pleasure. And that's what I want to give to women is access to that pleasure. We essentially systematically deny women access to pleasure. And that's why they're losing their desire.
So why do you think it's called spine tingling?
Spine
So it's in the spine, right? All right.
Well, Monica.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. All right, hold on. Let me see. I'll go to your comments. Questions, comments, have them come in now or later, because I know a lot of you are, listening, rushing off. I do not want you watching while you're driving. Some of you I know like to put your earbuds in and listen. That's perfect. That would be on the realm of it's the audio podcast, which we do have on Thursdays, by the way. We drop at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we take a lot of these shows and turn it into the audio side. Rose and Christy, I see your comments. I'll get to those. And again, for those of you that are saying, I would like to reach out to Angela. We'll give you all the information to work with her. And one more time, an idea for a Valentine's event that maybe you haven't thought about, okay? It's going to be right here, and we'll tell you all about that. Don't go anywhere. More with Angela Skurtu when we return.
Thankful to Monica for having me on the show here today. I just love having the opportunity to try and help other people. There are a lot of people in my life that were there for me in my time of need, and that was important for me today to talk to Monica about that. You can get low and then work yourself back up to where you want to be, and people around you can help you do that. Surround yourself with the right people. That's what Monica tries to do here with this show. In fact, I know that's what she wants to do, is she wants people that are like-minded to help each other, to point each other in the right direction, to lift each other up, not put each other down. It was amazing for me to sit in here and talk with Monica, and hopefully it helps somebody along the way. I know that every show that she puts on is fantastic. It's worth your while to be tuning in every single day. Don't worry about some of the negativity around the world, whether it's on TV and this, that, the other. Tune in here to Monica and let her tell her story as well as her guests tell their story. There's always something that you can get from somebody else. And if you pick up just one little thing that helps you, that makes this a success. And that is why I'm here with Monica today.
And yeah, I mentioned earlier YouTube. So again, as you saw there, just type in The Real Monica Adams. Even if you watch us on Facebook, which is my largest platform, be sure to also go onto YouTube, because a lot of you go back and think, oh my gosh, I really love that show from last year or even 3 months ago. Meta changed things around and they get rid of shows after 30 days. So that's why you want to also subscribe to YouTube. So if you are just tuning in, you're at the latter part of the show, but that's the beauty of going back and watching streaming. You can go and see it at any point. Share this with your family and friends. Have them start talking. That's what Angela's really hoping that you will do. Angela Skurtu, again, licensed sex therapist, but as well from a counseling standpoint. So whether you're a man or a woman and you think we need some help, this is the information of how you can get involved with Angela. Again, also her show, Open Bedroom Doors. The website is openbedroomdoors.com. Sex and couples therapy, a licensed marriage therapist in the state of Missouri, and an AASECT certified sex therapist. She has the event coming up one more time on Valentine's Day. Tickets are still available. How much are tickets?
It's $118 per person,
Okay.
and it comes with an aphrodisiac menu. And then I just wanted to point out the questions. I do the anonymous questions. So when you come in, I have everybody write anonymous questions that I do answer in bed, because I have a mattress sponsor, Mattress Dogs, which, by the way, use promo code SEXYTIME and you can get your next mattress tax-free.
Mattress Dogs. I've never
Mattress
heard of them.
Dogs here in Wildwood.
Interesting.
So yeah, they're bringing a bed for me to answer these sex questions in bed, but I let people write them on an index card, because a lot of people, again, it's still taboo. So my whole job is to
So
make
it's an
sex
anonymous
fun
thing?
and playful. Yeah. So, well, I mean, you'll be in a room with other people,
But they don't know who the
but
question's coming
nobody
from?
knows where the questions are coming from. I answer them in bed. And I also have, like, with that aphrodisiac menu, I'm doing a blindfolded activity for fun. So this whole event is just for fun and connection, right? But we're going to have foods like strawberries and chocolates, and you'll get to feed your partner. So, like, you just see one little hint of this is how intimacy can look when you step outside of the sex
And
box.
carry that forward beyond Valentine's Day.
Yes, yeah, but of course, clothes on, judgments off,
Yes.
and any intimacy, real, like beyond, is do it in your bedrooms. I don't do anything in my, like, you can take some pictures in bed, but that's it, and your clothes better be on.
Why do I have a feeling some of these couples are all going to sudden disappear? They'll be like, where have they? Oh, they're in the bathroom.
Most of them are going to have so much, like, people have so much fun at my events. But, like, I just try to make it fun and playful. Really, I do storytelling and humor. And then in the middle of that, I'm teaching people about healthy sex and wellness.
She's teaching without you actually knowing she's teaching, right?
know.
the
It's a little
subliminal
trickery and deceit.
Subliminal side. Okay, Rose said, Angela, have you ever thought of stand-up comedy? The first stand-up counselor comic. I agree with the love language, she said.
I actually do it all the time. I would say humor is a huge part of my work, because it has to be. Sex is so taboo. How are you going to bring down people's defenses? So I actually study comedy, and actually with each couple, I test which jokes work better and which ones work worse.
Sure.
And so, like, I'm actually doing stand-up comedy essentially in my sessions all the time, but not, I mean, yes, I want to make you laugh, but it's really to help you learn and to let your guard down.
Sure.
And so I would say I am a stand-up comedy just in the office.
Yeah, in the office. So
And in my events.
In order to see her stand-up comedy, you have to go to her.
You have to go to dinner with a sex therapist to see
exactly.
me in person.
Exactly. All right. Cheryl said, good morning. How can I find Angela on YouTube?
Oh, YouTube, it's at Open Bedroom Doors. So everything, it's on Instagram, it's on Facebook. Look at Open Bedroom Doors. So at Open Bedroom Doors for YouTube, at Open Bedroom Doors for Instagram, Facebook. And then, of course, the website is www.openbedroomdoors.com. Like, just wide open. It's a metaphor, by the way. You can have sex with your doors closed. I'm not gonna judge you.
No judgment zone. There's all the information, obviously, on the screen for you. So again, that's how you can find her, Cheryl. Be sure to subscribe, and you can listen to her show. Zach, by the way, you all know this, been with me for 2.5 years now. Zach does the production aspect of Angela's show. So yes, there she is.
Yep, that's the Open Bedroom Doors show. It airs every Thursday night at 9 p.m. on e360tv.com.
And I've never heard of that. E360?
Yeah, it's like what do you call it? Like the Independent Film Channel. It's like the Independent Film Channel, but for talk show hosts.
Fantastic. All right. There you go. So many ways to find her. Okay, before we have to wrap up, we wanted to talk about the digital side and the digital divide. So there's many levels of digital. I mean, now you're talking about the AI aspect, but even these that are constantly scrolling, and that this becomes the person's partner.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. So AI is my favorite thing to study right now, because people are going to AI for their therapy and help. But I also am noticing that again, instead of talking to each other, it's the same problem. It's just in a new format. Instead of talking to each other, they're talking to AI. And I've seen people feel like they were like cheated on based on like you're spending more time on your phone than you are talking to me. There's a show I watch on 106.5 that's called To Catch a Cheater. And somebody called in trying to catch their husband cheating. And really he was like, oh, I was just on AI asking a bunch of questions, but he would like giggle and kind of hide it. Like, think of the behaviors you look for in cheating. And so it's the new mistress. AI and technology is the new mistress of relation, or the mister. I mean, I could be universal in whoever's
both.
doing it. Right?
Well, but from an AI standpoint, I'm looking. I did not jump on the board or the bandwagon of this particular one, and I'm not going to because I'm all about being real. I know you all had fun with it, but I'd rather have you have your real pictures out there. So around Christmas time, when everybody was going to Chat GPT and putting their pictures in with all the candy canes, I'm guessing it's probably going to happen again around Valentine's Day. But there's so much fakeness out there, and there's so much that men and women, when we talk about infidelity, that they're looking at that's not even real. And it's like, this is what you are seeking. That's not a real person.
Yeah. Well, I think it speaks to how far distant couples have become from one another. So I always say this, but there are times in relationships where we get closer and further away. Closer. I'm very a handsy talker, in case you didn't notice. And so really what my job is to help people notice when they're on that distance pattern and turn intentionally towards each other. What couples typically do is they just distance and they wait. They wait for like the tide or their emotions to shift. But like that's a really haphazard way to be living a relationship if you really want to stay close. And so really my job is to give people the tools to know, to notice when it's happening, to notice how far they're getting, and to be more intentional about turning close sooner. And then beyond just turning close and constantly distancing, what are the things you're going to do on a regular basis for keeping the relationship close and connected? Because we talked about earlier, right? I cuddle with my husband every night before bed and every morning, even if I go into another room, or if he does, although I'm the one who prefers because I'm the insomniac. But like we have time set for each other. The whole date night, like Valentine's, what people have asked me, like, how do you feel about doing your events on Valentine's? I was like, Valentine's for me happens all the time.
Yeah, right.
I don't have to wait for Valentine's Day for time with my partner. We make it a priority to make each other connected.
I do want to ask you this because my husband and I had this discussion with someone that we knew that would literally put in their calendar the time, the dates that they were going to have sex. And he's like, that is so regimented. He's like, what the heck? What happened to the spontaneity of it all? What are your thoughts on that? Because he was very against hearing this particular couple do that.
So I don't like the idea of planned sex, but like I talked about, I carve time every day for intimacy of some sort.
But you don't put it in your calendar.
I don't know, but we do both. Like in our brains, like we have a time that we've discussed that we would like it to be. We have a frequency we would like to maintain, and we both hold ourselves accountable to that. Yeah. And does that mean we're like, hey, it's been 3 days, get in the bed? No, it's more of a, hey, it's been a bit. Why don't we connect and let's find a way to connect? But we also negotiate and talk with each other about what that can look like. Again, talking. I'm going to teach you how to talk to each other.
That's the whole life is all about we need to communicate better.
And like one thing I have to teach my women actually is that like, okay, if they're going to be intimate for the night, what do they need to do to get out of the caretaker role first? To maybe like for example, when I teach a couple to flirt, sometimes the thing that I give a woman is, all right, how about you go take a bath like by yourself? Nobody bugs you. And like take an hour to yourself. And when men start to create, I'm serious. When a man does that for her, like, hey, I've got the kids. I just want you to relax and be connected and just like not be needed anywhere. Like first, she has to be a person. And then like that level of caretaking is like, oh, I'm definitely going to have sex with you.
Because they see that they're getting help.
And because they're constantly taking care of everyone else. So for 1 minute, somebody's like, hey, but it should be more than one. Hold on, I want to give a vote for it. It should be way more than 1 minute. Yes. But that's the part of it that makes it so sexy and romantic. It's like I'm saying I'm investing in your quality time and your care. I want you to know that I don't want you to constantly run yourself into the ground. Right. And really, that's what the talk on Dinner with a Sex Therapist is going to be about, is how do you go from burnout to passion? And it really involves living a higher quality life where there's time for individual care, couples care, and family care. Not constantly women doing everything for everyone else and men just working themselves to the grindstone. Because like that's what they're doing. Like they're each destroying themselves just in different ways.
Absolutely. And if this is where you are right now, this is why I want you to go to this and then go beyond that. After Valentine's night might help you, then it becomes, all right, we've got to continue this. So there's the information for you on the screen. Dinner with a Sex Therapist, hosted by, again, Angela Skurtu, 5 to 8 p.m. Tickets are available for you right now. We gave you all the information. Let's give it one more time where you can find Angela for this, as well as her YouTube channel that Cheryl was asking about earlier, her show, and how she can work with you. So website is openbedroomdoors.com. Again, on Instagram, on YouTube, at Open Bedroom Doors. Find her, let her help you, and I hope you heard it enough. Start talking. And if really, truly the two of you cannot come to the table, that's where you need a professional to help you with that. Okay, I'm hearing what I think would rise to the top. Maybe you all are also, but we're going to let Angela, because I always let my guests choose. So at the end of every show, we do our devotionals from Stephen Arterburn. 100 Days to Freedom books. One is depression. One is anger. One is shame. One is fear and anxiety. We've got overeating, and then we just added 100 days of healing. The other ones are 100 days to freedom from. So shame, depression, anger, fear and anxiety, overeating, or healing. What are you feeling?
Which one do you want me to pick?
Nope. Yeah. I was going to say, yes. All my guests are the ones that pick at the end.
Let's pick anger.
Anger. Okay. I could feel it was either anger or shame.
You knew it.
Well, shame is what I thought you were going to choose, because where people think it's like taboo to talk about it. But anger, that's the one Angela wants you to hear from. And it'll be interesting to see if it really fits what we've been talking about today. So 100 days to freedom from anger. Angela, thank you. I hope the event is... Are you close to selling out? Because I'm thinking we're right around the corner.
We're getting close. We're selling tickets fast.
Yeah. So
get
don't
your
wait on it.
now.
Exactly. Don't wait on it. All right. 100 Days to Freedom from Anger. And then what is on tap for tomorrow, as well as what's on tap for our Foodie Friday. We'll tell you about all of that when we return.
This lady got me in the best shape of my life. I literally didn't know that I could be in shape like that. But the amount that she pours into her clients, and especially whenever you get the one-on-one training, it's mind-blowing. I mean, it was really life-changing. I learned so much about proper form, about nutrition, about just being able to invest in myself. I hired Monica to be my personal trainer, which was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Welcome to the mobile Monica version of the Real Monica Adams Show at my favorite restaurant.
There's something about a coffee house that's just very warm and welcoming.
Gives you that sense of community.
What are you most proud of since you've opened?
I cry easily. I'm thankful for everybody here.
You opened the door during the middle of the pandemic. You got the best Italian restaurant in the United States. Here in St. Louis, you put us on the map.
Does it scare you? You go through fear?
Terrible.
So how do you get past the fear?
We find something to laugh about.
Welcome back. Again, this show is all about hope and inspiration and motivation and positivity, no negativity. When we have anything that might fall into the realm of that, it's really is how can we help as a community and be there for one another. So Angela picked the 100 Days to Freedom from Anger. These books, by the way, somebody asked the other day, Stephen Arterburn, when we're on set that we read from Stephen Arterburn's books. So this is day 40 times this one has been chosen. Servant attitude. This is 2 Timothy 2, verse 24. A servant of the Lord must not quarrel, but must be kind to everyone, be able to teach, and be patient with difficult people. Okay, so if we're followers of Christ, we are in a lifelong process of being transformed so that our behavior and our attitude becomes more Christ-like. We will have areas to work on as long as we are alive. And if that makes you mad, well, that's something else for you to work on, right? What does it mean to have a servant attitude? Does it mean that you let everyone have their way or never disagree with anyone? No, not really. It means you have control of your emotions, your attitude, your intentions. It means that you are aware and mindful of the needs around you and do what you can to help others. A servant attitude also means that you recognize your own needs and tend to them. How many times do I say you have to take care of you first? When you've addressed your needs, you're able to give from what you have. If you feel angry when someone asks for help or you resent having to help someone, you likely have some deficits in your need tank. Think about this. Are you hungry? Are you angry? Are you lonely or even tired? This HALT acronym can help you identify when your attitude may need a little adjustment. Sometimes we become angry when our blood sugar dips, hormones change, or we're in need of sleep. We're physical, emotional, spiritual, mental beings with many different aspects that need attention. When we realize all that God has for our lives, we will also be able to discern attitudes that hamper our ability to live selflessly and lovingly with those around us. So to be angry or irritable with people won't help us reach many for the kingdom. However, with a loving attitude and a changed heart, we will make a difference in this world. And after all, isn't that what we want? This footprint of how we change the world and we're there for each other. So we look at Roy T. Bennett, who said, always have a willing hand to help someone. You might be the only one that does. John Holmes, there is no exercise better for the heart than reaching down and lifting people up. I always ask you to get out of your own way. To lose yourself in righteous service to others can lift your sights and get your mind off personal problems, or at least put them in proper focus. That's Ezra Benson. So for further reflection, this is a lot of times we give you the devotional, and a lot of you like to go and open the Bible and go for scripture. You would go to Philippians 2, verse 3 to 5, or Isaiah 43, 18 through 19, or Matthew 15, verse 11. I really do get drawn to Matthew a lot. Today's prayer: Lord Jesus, thank you for changing my life. May that change be obvious to others as I become more like you and serve others. May your kingdom come and your will be done in my life. Amen. Good one. And I think there were parts of that fit in what we were discussing today.
Yeah, I think so. Especially when you think about, I always think of anger as what boundary do I need in my life that I'm not supporting? Every time I get a little bit of anger, that's an opportunity to look for what need is not being met or what boundary needs to be set so that I can feel more whole.
Right? And if we hold in that anger, that's not helping anyone. Okay? First and foremost, you've got to take care of you. And the greatest thing to do is start talking about what the problems are, finding someone that is there to help you with that. All right, everybody, tomorrow we have a really big announcement, and I'm going to save it for tomorrow morning. For the next 3 weeks, I have a guest that's going to join me. We have 6 shows that are planned, opening and closing ceremonies at the Olympics, and then 4 of those days, besides those 2 days of the opening and closing, we're going to focus on specific events. So I'm going to ask you to drop in, if you haven't already, what do you want us to cover? She and I are very drawn to, she was a figure skater. I skied for a long time, so downhill skiing and figure skating will definitely be covered. The other 2, we're going to allow you to maybe change our minds. We're thinking women's hockey, which I think would be great. We're also thinking curling, because we both are like, what the heck is that sport? But some of you have said luge. Other people have said snowboarding. I've seen some other comments. So what would you like us to cover? Michaela Tuggle, she's known as Make That Magic on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, and Facebook. Huge following, and she and I are teaming up together. We're going to announce tomorrow who our presenting sponsor is. Cannot wait for this. So tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., get ready to laugh. She is absolutely hilarious. And then coming up on Friday, our Foodie Friday, Dee Dee Mao. They just opened up in Webster Groves. They also have a location in Maryland Heights. We're going to make some spring rolls together with the owner, Julie. We have that as our second hour, because the first hour is Friendship Friday. Our real estate extraordinaire, Dot Fleshman, joins me. So a 2-hour show on tap for you on Friday morning. Until then, remember what we always ask you to do. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. What does that mean? Being kind. Be kind. God bless. See you in the morning.